my project is about and all that. The thing is, my project is related to e-toys, and I can tell, I think most of you don't use e-toys, and perhaps you don't even know what e-toys is, but you might have heard about e-toys, perhaps in a sentence like, we have to get rid of e-toys. But, well, e-toys is great, you don't want to get rid of it, and I will show you. This is e-toys, this is the main window of e-toys, I don't know, the main project. e-toys is a nice visual programming language for children, where you make scripts for graphical objects like the car. You can see the script here, which makes the car bounce. And for instance, I can program like this, and if I drop it there, wait, as you can see, the car stops bouncing on stuff, and it only bounces on the how do I say the limit of the window? I don't know, the bounce. Well, this is e-toys. I'm not going to show you anymore, but my project was about improving a set of aspects of e-toys, like developing tools and fixing some translation stuff and something like that. I'm going to go item by item. The first two items are really boring. I'm going to show you them fast. They were about improving the translation framework on e-toys to make the translation work better for translators, because I don't want to go into details, but they have a big file with all the translations, and it was really uncomfortable to modify that file. So we wanted to split that into several files, and that's what we did. But the translation was really boring. The other is what was one item. The other item was improving the font support, because it uses, I don't want to go into details in it either, but it was mainly integrating some code that already existed by Andreas Raab and fixing it and stuff like that. Both items were really boring. So I'm going to start with the fun ones, which are a lot, so I'm going to start with that. As you know, e-toys is mainly graphical, so what most children do is start by making a drawing. So, I don't know, I'm going to draw something. And the children spend a lot of time making the drawing nice, so they can make nice projects, So it's very important that the paint tool is a very important tool. And I am a user of e-toys, and the paint tool sucks, It's really awful. You can only do, look, you have this set of sizes for the brushes, you have only these tools, you don't have multiple undo, so if I made a mistake, I can only do one undo. It's really, I know, I always use Microsoft Paint to make my project, and it's really embarrassing. I also can't choose a translucent color. I only have solid colors. So this was one of the aspects I wanted to improve. So I started looking at the code of the paint tool, and you all know that starting a new project from scratch is much more fun than modifying existing code. So that's what I did, and I came up with this, which is only a prototype. It's not supposed to be the end interface, because the interface, especially when we're working with children and in education, is very important. But this was like a working prototype to test my tools. And it's not completely finished yet, so that's not finished either. But it has some stuff that is good, and the other paint tool doesn't have. Like, for instance, I can modify in a lot of sizes the brush. You can see I have 100 at the most, but I can modify the number. That's why it's here. So if I go here, I can have a little bigger. So that's something the other paint tool doesn't have. Also, as you see, the cursor is modified to show the diameter of the brush. That's cool either. That's cool also. That's also cool. I have multiple undo. That's cool también. Now I have infinite undo, but it's yay. Well, I can choose another color, and I can change its alpha. So if I now keep this, you will see that I'm going to open a browser, so you see. Ding, ding. It's translucent. I don't know if you can see that, but this my paint tool is supposed to have all these improvements. Like I will also, I didn't do it yet, but I want to make a zoom in the drawing, or make a select tool so I can grab a fraction of the screen, and that's the things I have to do. But this is a prototype, and it's working, but it's not completely finished. That's one of the items I had to do in the project. Another item, which was mainly focused on developers, is that I wanted itoys to make. I will show you each object scriptable like this. To make this, you have a set of commands and slots. To define this, you have to write a lot of code, and it's really boring, you know. So if I wanted to develop a new itoy or that sort of thing, that was a painful task. So one of the items I wanted to do is make an itoy maker, what I call an itoy maker, which is a very simple tool where you can choose the name of the itoy, any itoy, and select the commands you want to implement, select the slots, and it will compile all your code automatically, and you don't have to worry about it. And I can show you an example. I actually used this in a project. I was testing some hardware using the serial port, and I didn't want to write the code in Workspace because it was, I'm lazy. And so I can write here this, and it looks at the source code and tries to find all the possible methods that could be implemented as slots or commands. So you can see here, close, I can use it. It's important. I can use this, next put all, open port. I can select which as the methods I want to use. And maybe the slots, I want to change the bar rate, you know. And that's all for now. And also, I will have to change the category to serial port. This is how it usually works. Category. Yeah. And this one. So then, now I have set it all the commands and slots of my itoy, and then I click make itoy, and if this works, which should work, it starts compiling my code. It's a little slow, but it works. And then it should flash when it finished, but I don't know why it's taking so long. In the meanwhile, I can talk you about my life. I live in Bernal, and it's a very nice city. Well, I don't know what happened. Oh, it seems. Well, I don't know if this works, but I can create an instance of serial port. This is an empty morph because I don't want to make. Later, the developer will have to make the actual interface, you know. And if this worked, which probably not, I should have a serial port. Oh yes, a serial port category here, with all the slots I mean to implement. So now I can open the port and start working very easily with the serial port. And I can show you the code it wrote, but so you can see which is it's ugly code, you know. It created two classes, one for the morph and one for the player. In the class side of the morph, it adds this method which describes all the commands and slots the itoy will have. Then all these commands all these methods had to be implemented in a player subclass, which is over here, and this calls a morph method. So all these methods were implemented automatically, and I didn't have to worry about that. So that's the idea of the tool. It's actually sort of a hack to make the life easier for the developer, because eToys doesn't make it easy for me. So that's another item, improving the eToys Paint tool and improving life for developers. Yeah, I can show now another item. The other item was something that eToys doesn't have. It's that you can't actually import or output data to files with scripts. So one item was, well, let's make some tiles to do that. Yes. So I did this object. I made this spreadsheet morph, which is very simple. You just have some cells and you write, I don't know, something. Yes, and you can open the viewer of the morph, and of course you can change I can clear the row. I can change the columns. You know, I made less columns, more, and that sort of thing. And of course, I can use this spreadsheet to load data from a file in a CSV format because it was easier. We should add more formats, but for now it's okay. So I can load some data, and I will load a file named flares CSV. So import, and this data taken from the NASA website with the solar flares of the month of June, and you can with a script you can go through this info and do something, I don't know, but also you can modify something and import it back. Like I can put 3 here and export data to file, and it's just overwrite this, and that's it. We wanted to make input-output of data to files. Yep, but data in this size is not enough, you know, because actually eToys is very graphical, so we wanted to also import graphics. So we make, or I make a tile in. I will draw something, and I made a tile here, which allows you to import a graphic from a file. Actually, this was implemented in code, but you didn't have these tiles, you know, so that's what I did. I will load, I don't know how it's named, fractal 3. And you can import that into the morph, and it takes the graphic of a file. That's also you can modify the graphic then and import it back into a file. In one of these formats, maybe I will use the map and import graphic. The file, of course, it doesn't exist. Export is what I meant, and it should load save the file. I don't know where this is. I will try to go there. Well, you can believe me, it works. Yes. Well, that's another thing. So you have input-output of data and graphics. So we wanted to take another step, and we wanted to also be able to import and export morph. Again, this is also something it's already coded in Squeak, so you can do it. But you didn't have the tiles to do it in a scriptable way. So if the kid wanted to, he made a rotating star like this. I will make the star, and I will make it turn like this. And if the kid wanted to save this morph and maybe load it back later, he couldn't do it. He should save the whole project, which is I don't know, I'd rather use the morph as the unit, as the shareable unit. So we made this object EO category. You could write, export the object to a file. They already exist because I already did this. Overwrite that file, and it writes it, and then I can import it back, and I have the two. And so you see, I can load back a morph with scripts. This is a very simple morph. I can show you that. Stop. You too. So this is going to be difficult. No, there you go. Die. So one thing we realized is that the kid shouldn't always know the name of the file. So we made a very simple file list object like this. It's actually very, very simple. It only shows this, and then you can go through the file system, and you can grab, I will go here, the name of the file, like this file. And if you go here, the only thing this object does is give me the file name, and if it is a directory, or I can choose a filter, how many entries does this directory has, and stuff like that. But the thing is, I can also load, I will load a file named chopper.morph, which is a very much complex object. You will see. So I choose this, I replace here, and so now I will set the object file name to the entry name. So what I choose here will go over here, you know. So so you see, and then I will import the object from the file, and I will choose to import this object. And now, if it's reading, this is a very complex object, so it will take maybe a few seconds, I think, and it's there. So this is a very simple game I wrote. I don't know when, but it's a chopper. You can drive it, and you have to avoid the bad clouds. So you can see that this is a very complex object. It has a lot of scripts. These little thunders are scriptable. It has a lot of scripts for the chopper too. How they say fondo. The background is also, so it has a lot of scripts, and it can also be exported. So well, that's it. Improving the paint tool, making the toy maker, input output from files. That's another item. And then we have another idea that it was making a set of tools to let children plot their data from scientific experiments and stuff like that. And so I made a set of graph morphs like this one, where you can choose. I will open this. First, you can open a table of values, and you can write here maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, and when you click apply, it plots them. You see, but it's not interesting to plot data this way. It's much more interesting to do it in a scriptable way. So we made also tiles like this to add a point. Maybe I can move it in the graph. And one thing that is cool about the graph is that any object can be a point. I can drop a star there, and it's now a point, and it has its references, its position, not this position, but that's something I had to fix, but another point X, and it represents the position in the graph. So I can move the object around, and it's a point in the graph. See, and it's the graph is also very configurable. I can modify the grid or the legends or the Cartesian coordinates. We'll go over here. I can move to the left. I can move around the graph, and I can modify the legends. I don't know what I want to show you with this. Maybe the minor grid. I can remove the minor grid because it's. So you see, I can modify the colors. So it's very modifiable. You know, the background color. I'm going to make it blue. How awful. Well, this is a graph that plots points, and I made another one which plots bars, which is also interesting, and it's the same, but it only plots bars. So you can drop a rectangle here, and it's a new bar in the graph, and I can modify the value of the graph. You see, I have value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, and I can modify this. I don't know, bar. I don't know, and you can do interesting stuff with this graph morphs. I will show you one project which was made by Randall, my mentor in the Summer of Code program, which is a test for see how random is the random number generator. So I have a die here, and I can roll it, and it plots which was the number which I don't know how to say, but you get the idea. And I can start rolling, and you can see the bars grow, you know. And this is all scriptable from eToys, and that's cool. And another example I'm going to show you is using the graph tools in conjunction with the file EO, the spreadsheet, you know. So you can use the Flare data I show you, and you can graph it you can plot it in the graph, and you can see all the little sons turning with the information of the dot, and it's very simple for the kid to do it. So now we have 4 things, items in the list. Another thing I did but this wasn't in the project description, but I did it anyway because it was interesting, is improving the keyboard support from eToys, because when you start doing, for instance, the chopper game, I wanted to use the keyboard to drive the chopper, but it's not. Keyboard support in eToys is very poor. You don't have the multiple keys to get events from that, and it's very awful, and you can't do interesting stuff with that. And so I made this little keyboard which can give you the information of which key is pressed. Like it's not done in an elegant way, but it works. I can press the A and the B and the C at the same time, and I can know which keys are pressed with multiple keys and stuff like that. And this allows me to make this little game, which I think is very nice, and I'm very proud of it. That's why I show it, which is a remake of the Asteroids made entirely in eToys. And I can start new game, and I can move and shoot, and it works quite well with the keyboard now. And I can show you how it explodes. It's really cool. Oh, no. No, it's more difficult to make it explode than. So that's fun. And so one of the items was improving the keyboard support. This works even better with a joystick. It's more fun using a joystick in eToys. Well, I lost. And another thing, the other of the items was making. Randall wanted to do something he called learner and teacher feedback. He wanted to collect information about the usage the children does in eToys. So we actually talked about it with the Squeakland community, and we decided that it was a very ambitious project for the time I had. So we developed a very simple thing which does not cover the entire scope of the project, which is called alert monitor. I call it that way. This is very simple. I can grab a morph and make it, I don't know, I can make an event, an alert for one of the events of the morph. I can choose a mouse event. For now I only have mouse and keyboard event, but it could be anything like a morph overlapping something else, or any condition you want. It should be able to add here. So you name the alert. I'm not going to put anything there. You choose a morph, which is going to be the source of the event, and you choose a type of event. I am going to choose mouse enter. So now when I enter the mouse, it goes red. But this is not interesting enough. So if you want to do something when the alert is triggered, you can script the alert, and maybe I can do something with the rectangle, like turning by 5. So now when I enter, it triggers this script. And this is completely parallel and independent from the eToys events. So I can write a script which changes the color of the UI. This is another script which is going to be triggered when mouse enter, and it will put a random number in the UI. And you can see that both events are independent, and this is something Randy thought it was useful for something. I don't know which use he plans to make, but I think he wants to use this and save in a file all the events the children is doing in the project. He makes a project like the random die project, for example, and then he wants to see what the kids doing with the project, so he can later improve that and make a better experience. So he can program it in eToys. I must say, Randy and it's okay. He is not a programmer, so this stuff is useful for him. Then I'm going to show you another thing which is kind of cool, which is something we took from scratch, which are these bubbles. I like them, and you can use this for making. You can attach them to an object. I will try to do it fast because I don't have a lot of time. Like a rectangle, and you can attach this to a rectangle, and the speech bubble will follow, attached to, you see, to rectangle, and then you can grab it around, and it's still saying or thinking hello world. And this is useful for making interesting stuff like this. I like comics a lot, so I made this. I don't know if you know Nedroid, but it's one of my favorite webcomics, and I made like a timeline here, and you can start play. So I don't know. That's very fun for me. I don't know about you, but I made a lot of this. I made, I think, 3 of Nedroid comics. I wanted to do another one, but I didn't have the time. And these speech bubbles were included in eToys because they thought it were nice. And last thing I want to show you is another object. This is a calendar. I made this simple calendar because in eToys you don't have a way of getting information about which day you are, and so I made this, which is very simple, and you can use it for scripts like, I don't know, I don't know, it gives you a lot of info about today date, and you can go back, I don't know, you can go back here. I found, I don't know why, but if I go to year 0 and I go to February, I don't know why it only has 1 week. I don't know why it's that, but this is the only month I found with only 1 week. But this is, I don't know, it's you can change the format, and you can use it. Of course, you can use it in scripts and stuff. I will go back to the. I will go to the end of the presentation. I'm not showing anything more, anything else.
Sorry, on March of the same year, you continue that week.
I don't know. Maybe it's a bug.
In the calendar.
Maybe it's a bug in the. I use the date.
Maybe the calendar.
I don't know. But well, I think you get an idea of what my project was, because it was a lot of different things. It was improving a lot of stuff, making a lot of tools, and it was very fun. I enjoyed it a lot. So my final presentation.
There was no year 0.
What then?
There was no year 0.
No year 0?
Paradox.
No. You came from 1 BC to 1 after C. It's a shame that Herman Wilkinson, that has studied calendars, is not here to say that.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but I don't know.
There was no year 0. That's a constraint we studied when we studied calendar.
I didn't know that.
So it's an input error. Your input would not permit a year 0.
I didn't know that. But it's fun because you can go back to negative years.
The 0 is not included.
No. Well, I'm going to end the presentation, and then we can talk. I want to thank GSoC, of course, and the Squeakland community for all this. I think you know some of these guys. This is Mariano, which was the Google Summer of Code administrator. He's one of the people responsible for me participating here. Shanko was the other administrator. And well, this is Randall, which was my mentor, and it's a great guy, and I have a lot of fun working with him. And this is me with an unusual long hair. I don't know why I did that. And so, special thanks to all of them, and of course, thanks to you, because you listen to me, even though there are more interesting stuff over there. I'm glad that you came, and a special thanks to Smalltalk's conference organizer, because this is a very interesting conference. It's the 4th time I'm here. And if you were interested, you can go to these websites and see a lot of projects. I made a lot of projects. Here you can have a lot of the other web comics I made. It's a little long to remember, but well, that's it. Thank you very much.
Sorry, a little question. The source code, in what level of image installed?
You will have to use the eToys image. It's all here is detailed where you can download it and all of that. But I don't think anyone is going to do that, because but it's okay. Well.